Boop. What's inside? What's inside? It's a good channel. Friends of mine. What's inside the mystery bag? Underneath the mystery rag. It's inside the mystery bag. It's just the gift that keeps on going. What's inside here? We're not gonna get to that. You guys have probably seen this logo a lot. That's my other Instagram account. If you found it, Fly the Flag. Today we're talking about how you can start adding textures to your photographs that you create yourself. You create the textures and the photographs, you put them together, and you get some pretty awesome results. And you can do it all from your room or your kitchen or wherever, your basement, your break room, wherever you're an airplane. You could, wherever you're watching this from, really anywhere. Intro, because I want to teach you this. It's very exciting. Intro, just cut me off. Just put the intro in like. What's up, everybody? Peter McKinnon here. Welcome back to yet another video. Want to clear something up. Sometimes, over the past couple of years, I've seen people say, hey Pete, why didn't you do your intro today? And I just wanted to clearly explain. I typically do the intro, what's up? I do that whole thing for tutorials, not vlogs. That's now settled moving forward. So today, what are we talking about? Let's take a look at a couple random shots. Let's just throw 6 photos up on the screen. These are great, but lately, and if you are so inclined to find my other Instagram account, I've been doing a lot of photos that have a very different aesthetic to them and adding a lot of grunge and texture to these photos, and there's been a lot of interest in how I'm doing that, so I figured I would share that with you today. Let's take a look at those same 6 photos now, but with grunge textures on top of them. There's nothing different about the actual edit, the color, none of that, but the texture, the grunge, the weird grit that you see on top, that's the addition, and that's what I'm gonna teach you guys how to do today and make yourself. And it's very, very easy. All you need to do is grab your camera, grab a lens. It could be a telephoto lens, it could be a macro lens, would be the best if you had that. That's what I used. But use whatever you have and go around where you're immediately sitting, where you're immediately right now in life, in the world, and just look for textures, right? So this sound panel, it's a texture. I take a macro shot of that, it looks like this. The floor, you take a look at the window, you got some grime and a little bit of water residue in that, top of an apple box. Here's the plaster wall that someone clearly failed to smooth out. All of these things we can now use as photo assets. So what do I mean by that? Well, I can take that picture of the window, for example, bring it into Photoshop, change the blending mode to screen, and then you've got a photo that looks like this. And we just created that texture from a shot that we just took looking out the window. That's amazing, and it adds such a new level of creativity to photos that you already have. You don't have to go out and take photos for this. All you gotta do, well, I guess you do have to go out and take photos, so you gotta take the grunge photos. But now you can just grab a picture of Moraine Lake, for example. I have a lot of photos of Moraine Lake. But we can take one and make that photo look like an old film scan by adding this grunge texture to it, which I love. And that's just something that I'm doing right now and having a lot of fun with. And because I'm having a lot of fun with it, I see you guys as my friends. And I thought, I gotta tell my friends about this cool little hack. So one of the first things I did when I took this photo out the window is I brought it into Lightroom and made it black and white. That's gonna make it easier when I change the blending mode in Photoshop. That's kind of what it looks like. So we're gonna go ahead and copy this and paste it on top of our photo. And we'll use a photo of this little secret product here. Place the grunge texture on top of that. We're gonna change that blending mode to screen. You can do that by clicking over here by the layers panel. Now we've got this, but it doesn't look very good. It still looks kind of cloudy. It's still kind of just dominating the photo way too much. So we got to play with those curves, the shadows and the highlights to make sure that we tweak it to exactly where it works for us. So go up to Image, Adjustments, click on Curves. That's going to bring up your curves bar. And then you're just going to want to drag these shadows all the way down. You know, it's all personal preference. So you can play with this curve line until you get it where you want it. Hit OK when you get get there, and now you've got something that looks a lot better. You can also mess around with that opacity in the layers panel if you don't want as much of it or a little more. But what I like to do is create a layer mask by clicking that little circular button down there at the bottom. You make sure your brush is black using this layer mask. I go up to the top and I change the opacity of the brush. So when you wipe it, not everything's getting deleted, but maybe like 70% or 80%. Paint that texture away until I feel like it works for me. You can mess around with the transform by hitting Command T, size it up, size it down, move it around wherever you are happy with it. You're pretty much done. One extra little thing I like to do sometimes is add a Gaussian blur. Gaussian? Gaussian. I like to add that Gaussian blur to just take away from like the sharpness of those little bits and grits, to just make it feel a little more like maybe it was just like some fluff on top of the lens or a bad film scan and there was lots of grit and dirt in there. Another thing I really like to do is actually use this as bokeh. So we could use that same image, scale it massively, take that Gaussian blur and max it all the way out so those crisp little bits and grits end up being out of focus looking elements. Then you can basically place your own bokeh into the background of a photo. So here are two portraits, one of me, one of Holiday, and I've done that in both of these photos using that same picture, that same grungy picture of the window right there. Not bad. Play around a little bit, add some variety, a little artistic flair to your shots. And like I said, if you want to stack them, here's another picture of that plaster wall on top of the window. All of those things, plus another window, inverted, amalgamated. I love that word, it's just such a good word. All of those things thrown together. Now, like I said before, didn't need any of this, but just trying to change the feel and change the vibe of it, it's a cool little experiment, and I quite enjoy it. And again, all of that stuff was just constructed, created from things immediately around me with less than 5 minutes. So that's it for me, guys. Hit that like button if you like this video, smash it, if that's something that you're into, 2019 style. And I will see you guys in the next video. Oh, give this a shot. Find some photos, go through the archives, walk around, take some textures. Let me know what you think. Hit me in the comments below if you enjoyed it. And other than that, have yourselves a great day. See you in the next video. Minus the fact, no. It's got a mind of its own. How do I do this? Ooh. Alright, look. So that's it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a shot. Try some. Bah, I really suck today. There's some days I'm just like.
No, it's Friday and it's like 4 or 3.
That's true. You can't laugh at me, dude. I'm not gonna be able to do this. Play around a little bit. Play around. Bah! I don't think I can do this.
Do it.
Well, now you're sitting there facing the other way. It's even worse. Gaussian? Who, like, is it the same thing as like bokeh or bokeh? Like, is it just only the people at Adobe know? It's this dude's last name. That's what it is. It's probably just like the McKinnon blur or. So one of the first things I did with this picture of the, I can't do it.
I was holding it.
I knew,
So well
I
there.
knew you were holding it in, which made me not be able to, you know what? This is not working.